elephant in the room. I am Jasmine Bowen, and you are watching Remake TV. Today, we have a very interesting episode for you. In this fast-paced world, there's so much going on, so much overstimulation. People are rush, not taking time to smell the roses. But it's something we as humans very much need to do, and that's why we today are joined by Justin Nye of the Qigong World Congress. And Justin is going to be talking to us about the ancient Chinese art of Qigong as well as traditional Chinese medicine. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you.
So why don't we start with Qigong in general, because this is not a very popular art yet. So why don't you tell me, what is it?
Qigong started in China. It started a long time ago, before 206 AD.
Wow.
So it's really old. That's pretty much all we know of that time, because there's no documentation that goes that far back. Mm-hmm. So we know that people started with meditation. They started with breathing practices, mm-hmm. and that kind of evolved when things came from India. Different practices came from India. Religion came from India,
right.
And these things got integrated into Buddhism.
Okay.
So Buddhism started to adopt different meditative and breathing techniques, and these techniques were called Qigong, and Qigong became associated with religion. Once that evolved, there was an area in China where there were a lot of temples. The monks that were in these temples were very sickly, they were very weak and elderly. And a lot of the people that practiced wanted to make these monks, because they contributed so much to society, a lot healthier. So they brought the practices to the temple.
Okay.
The monks practiced them. They incorporated martial arts to make them stronger. Mm-hmm. So then 3 sections of Qigong developed. There was a section where people were practicing for health and wellness, mm-hmm. one where they were practicing with martial arts, and another where they were practicing with religion.
Okay.
So it split off into these 3 things, and it became very large in Asia. Not so much in North America, it didn't really reach out. But in Asia, it became so large that everybody practiced. But it would be one of those 3 aspects.
So either, go over it with me again, so either martial arts, religion, or health benefits.
Yes.
Now, it's kind of a slow, I've seen it, it's kind of a slow moving martial arts, right? So explain to me how this works in each of the 3 areas. How do you use this, first of all, for health? Okay,
health is the most important thing. Health is actually the base. Mm-hmm. Everything else is kind of the cherry on top, so to speak. So why it's so important and why it's different from a lot of other things is because it incorporates a strict mind-body connection, because it incorporates breathing, and because it works on a system that is exactly the same system as they use for Chinese medicine and acupuncture. Huh. So the system's the same, but you're doing it yourself. It's a self-healing rather than having somebody
stuck in you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so martial arts. And now, as we talked about, I mean, Qigong's very slow. How are you going to use this for martial arts, unless you're fighting a turtle?
Martial arts is very interesting. One of the more popular ways to use Qigong. If you notice, I can relate this to Tai Chi. If you notice in Tai Chi, they also move slow, but there's a lot of martial application to that form. Mm-hmm. In Qigong, you also move slow, but you use the breathing and the focus to help you move what you call qi, the energy in the body, the vital energy, right? So if I was a martial artist and I wanted to, let's say, break a board, I could punch that board as hard as I possibly can with my strength, or I could develop a mental focus. I could use breathing and use my qi, what we call qi, to break that board. Okay. Some people, and there's clips of this on YouTube, some people don't even need to touch the board to break it.
What?
And I've seen this many times, and I've seen people do this. And actually, I've seen my father do things like this. There was a time, I'll give you an example. There was a time when we had an infestation of bees in the house a long time ago when I was a child, and I remember seeing this. And they gathered on the window. There's all these bees on the window, and I was all freaked out because I was a kid. And my father said, not to worry, not to worry. And he has a lot of energy because he's been doing it for so long. So what he did was he just passed his hand over all the bees, and they just fell asleep. They just I'll hit the ground, and I never ever seen anything like that before. And then, I mean, that's just one example, right? But
Wow.
and people's energy is a real thing. People, it's not a mystical thing, because I mean, when you meet someone for the first time, already you get a sense of their
Absolutely,
energy, right?
yes.
You get a sense of people's energy. This person's high energy. This person's low energy. This person kind of has bad energy. I don't really, but this person I really
But
like.
how do you relate? I mean, a lot of my viewers, they have no idea about Qigong or any sort of ancient art. And I mean, how do you take bad energy, you know, you get a bad feeling off someone, and direct it into a physical sense of breaking a board? Because I know a lot of people out there are like, what are you talking about? You might be a little crazy. So, I mean, can you give us a better idea of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that kind of energy it's the same as any type of energy in the universe. So we know, even from a Western standpoint, that energy is not created. It's transformed from one state to another. So if there's energy in your body and you're using it, like let's say in the punch situation where I'm breaking the board, I'm converting that stored energy, the potential energy, with the speed, with velocity to break the board.
But you can do it without touching it.
You can do it without touching it if you're really good.
Can you do it without?
No, I can't
not
do it.
Yet. Okay.
I'm not at that level yet. I'm still working on that one, but
I imagine this could be a very useful skill. You know, if you didn't like someone, you could just be like, boom.
It can be very dangerous, yeah. But there are people out there that do that kind of thing, and that same thing, using energy to do things. You can use that for healing too, and that's what a lot of people do.
Okay, so let's move on to the healing. We've gotten past the telekinetic. Tell me about the healing. So you're converting the energy essentially into healthy energy, healthy cells. What is working there?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So at the cell level, we're looking at every cell has energy in it. It's composed of energy. Everything at the basic level is energy. So all we're doing is creating positive energy, good energy, energy that moves. Because in Chinese medicine and Chinese science, energy that doesn't move is stagnant, and energy that's stagnant isn't good.
Okay.
No matter what type of energy is it.
Ah.
So if you have energy that moves in your body, then you have good energy most of the time, unless you're very negative or whatever. So we're looking at trying to keep energy moving. That's the principle behind Chinese medicine, principle behind Qigong, principle behind acupuncture. So that's what we're trying to do with this movement, with the Qigong exercise. So we use breath. So we use breath as an example of how to push energy. Why does your body feel good? Why do you feel good after a cardiovascular exercise? Why does the blood move? Why does it pump? Because energy in your body is moving.
That's true. I mean, that's a scientific base.
Yes, exactly. So ours is not that far off.
Okay.
Though the Western science, they haven't found a way to measure vital energy or qi.
Okay.
But they know that it exists. They know that electricity is in the body. They know there's energy in the body, but they can't measure it yet.
Now, is there any scientific proof or background in the Western world to support this right now?
There's a lot of stuff upcoming. Actually, there's lots of documented scientific research papers in China, because that's where it started. That's where all the funding is, unfortunately. For Chinese science, there's not much funding in North America.
Right.
So because of that, not much research here.
Right.
But actually, a lot of people are adopting this, including universities. Maryland University has a Qigong program. Stanford University has a Qigong program.
Stanford, now that is one of the Ivy Leagues.
Yes.
So Stanford isn't stepping into something.
There's a whole professor, he teaches a whole course on Qigong.
Wow.
So it's really, really taking off, especially in the United States. In Canada, we're still kind of going like this, but it's on its way.
Now, generally, when people are very sick, they have cancer, they have something like that, I mean, they go to Western medicine, and if Western medicine fails them, they try Eastern as a last resort. But most of the time, Western medicine does cure them. Do you think you could eventually do away with the
No,
chemo or anything
I don't
like
think
that?
so. I think Western medicine is a really good thing. I think there's things that they can do that we just can't do. Like I run a clinic in Richmond Hill, and when people come to me, there's things that I can't do. So if you have a gunshot wound, don't come to me because I can't help you.
Because you can't.
I can't help
Qigong
you.
that out of you.
I can't see it. I don't have the X-ray machines and things like that. Right. So I mean, there's things that Western medicine really, really good for.
Huh.
But there's things that Chinese medicine takes over that Western medicine can't understand. For example, I had a patient who had phlegm in his nasal passages. Right. And he said, "Well, what do I do?" I said, well, we got to find out why that's happening. He said, well, the doctor said I can cut it out, and then, if they cut out the cartilage, I won't be blocked anymore. And I said, I mean, that's good, but wouldn't suggest that. He went and did it. So he was clear for 3 months, and then it came back. So then he came to me, and then we found the root of the problem. I taught him some Qigong, we did a little bit of Chinese medicine, never came back.
Interesting.
But he already had the surgery.
Right. So the Western, in this case, failed him, and he moved on.
It didn't fail.
Well,
it helped him.
It didn't work all the way.
It did what they said it would do. It removed it. But it's not about band-aiding the solution or removing stuff that happens after the fact. Don't wait till the check engine light comes on in your car.
Fair enough.
You do stuff before and you find the problem. If you have an oil leak, you don't patch the leak. You find out where the oil's leaking from. Right? So that's what we're doing in Chinese medicine and Qigong.
Now, one thing I would like to kind of touch on is, I mean, I know a lot of my viewers are probably thinking you're crazy, but something I know is that the Chinese government actually banned a form of Qigong. And I assume that they wouldn't be banning a form of Qigong if it didn't work. So why don't you tell me about that?
Well, what happened actually, it's not actually a form of Qigong. It got stuck under the umbrella of Qigong because it was a practice from a one individual who developed his own set of exercises out of Qigong exercises.
Okay, and
he took this set. It's called Falun Gong.
Falun Gong. Okay.
So he took this set and he made this almost like a cult. So he made this kind of system where you would join, you'd give such and such, and then he would preach religion and spirituality, and it got so big and people got so excited about it because he was a great salesperson and marketer, that the government got scared in China because it got really, really big.
So they felt threatened.
They felt threatened, and they said, this person cannot be at the point he is, and we got to put a stop to this.
So was it more to do with what he was doing or the position he was in?
I think it was a little bit of both. Like what he was doing, some people would say that some of it wasn't very honest, because a lot of people started, giving away their homes and doing this and, contributing a lot and not getting a lot.
Yeah, we have some of those people here.
They're in every culture.
Herald camping.
They're in every culture. So, and that happened, and and then of course with the political power that he had with those numbers, it was very scary.
Fair enough. And I understand that also women were not allowed to practice for a while.
Women were not allowed to do a lot of things back then in China. So it wasn't more of women were not allowed to practice. It was more of, it was associated with this, and martial arts.
Right.
And traditionally women were not allowed to do those kinds of things.
Now tell me, you're a doctor, a physician.
Yes.
Where did you study?
I studied in natural medicine college.
Okay.
So it's an integrative medicine. I also have been doing this for my whole life, so I've been doing it since I was a child.
Okay.
So lots of self-practice and then practice on the family and things like that as I was growing up. So it was really just something I did for myself. And then when I decided a little while ago to stop the corporate sector business and move into this full-time, it was just really dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So
you studied natural medicine. Now you're licensed to practice here.
Yes.
And I mean, there is something to be said for natural medicine, because once upon a time, they did not just go to a hospital and get an IV, and people did live through sicknesses. So there is something to be said for that. But studying all this natural medicine and then going into kind of hands-on healing, is that what it's referred to? Do you think it's kind of a jump, or it's the same thing?
No, I think it's the same thing. I mean, when you see a doctor, I mean, he looks at you from a biological standpoint, and he tries to find out what prescription, what drugs, what things that he can give you that will fit your symptoms. But when you go to a natural medicine person, they're looking at the body. They're looking at you holistically. They're looking at your emotional state, the mental state. How do you react to things? How's your skin tone? Stuff like that. The doctors don't consider that. If you have a headache, they don't look at your skin.
No, they give you some Tylenol, send you home or something.
Send you home, exactly. But the holistic practitioner, the natural medicine practitioner, they're going to look at things like your skin. They're going to look at your tongue, stuff like that. Look into your eyes, because they want to get an idea of your body's state. And that will clue them in as to what kind of foods you've been eating or what you should eat, your sleeping patterns, lifestyle. All those things are very, very important in getting a diagnosis.
So do you think things like prescription drugs and such are kind of overprescribed in the Western world?
It's not really my place to say that. I think that people by default go to these things. Most people.
Yeah, I mean they want a fast, easy solution, and I don't think a lot of people really consider whether it's fixing the problem or the symptom.
Yeah, and this is what's really important is that with Qigong, it's ongoing maintenance that is very, very easy. So rather than having to fix my headache,
right,
I just don't get headaches because I practice all the time, and it only takes.
This is preventative medicine, which is actually a very big, becoming very big here in Canada. Whereas in America, they're not really about preventative medicine at all.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's so important, and even for the young people. I mean, I've got a lot of young people as students right now, and they've seen dramatic increases in their ability to run. Ability to endure the day, and these young people sometimes some of them like to party. I've got one who's an actor, so it's long days.
Yes.
They work all day, they go home, and then they network and then party and stuff. And now they have lots more endurance. They wake up refreshed. They're not groggy and doing this kind of thing. They don't have any headaches. They don't have to go to the gym as often, and actually this increases your cardiovascular response as well. So believe it or not, just by sitting and doing some meditation and breathing, you can lose weight. You can burn calories.
And I know everyone wants to do that. Most of the people watching me right now just turn their heads towards you.
Yeah. So you notice that I'm not, I'm a very small guy, but I'm also very thin, and I don't do any traditional cardiovascular work. I don't do aerobics or things like that. But I use breathing and Qigong, and it actually keeps my weight and my metabolism really, really high.
Now, have you ever kind of approached a skeptic and changed their mind?
Many people. I was a skeptic.
You were a skeptic.
I was a skeptic.
Even though you grew up with your father, who was this master.
Yeah, because I've seen him do things that I can't explain, and I said, there's got to be some kind of trick to that. That can't be real. I said everything that probably everybody who hasn't seen it before has said. And I approach everything like this because I'm more of a modern person. I don't come from, that very traditional lifestyle.
Right.
I look at everything and take it with a grain of salt. So unless it's proven to me, unless I can feel the effects myself, I won't push it onto other people. And Qigong has shown me it's never disappointed. It's always shown me that it does what it says. So very simple exercises, breathing, mental exercise, and that's pretty much it.
And I mean, taking away from, breaking boards with your hands or trying to, kill someone with your brain or however you had it. In this culture, we are overstimulated and we are always running around and never stopping. So do you think for people who are not religious or needing necessarily to heal, it's a good kind of relax meditation kind
Absolutely. For people that don't know how to do meditation or don't know what meditation is or can't sit still, it's really, really good because you incorporate a few slow movements with some visualization or mental exercise, and like I said, some breathing, and has nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with your own belief systems. It's very separate from all of that.
Right. So it is what you make of it.
Yeah, and it's individual, which is really, really good. I don't believe that there's a cookie-cutter solution that's going to heal me and heal you. The solution is not the same for the two of us because we think differently, different body types, different systems. Everyone's born with certain deficiencies. Maybe, my lungs are weak and your stomach's weak, something like that, So maybe I have an exercise that'll increase the stomach energy so your digestion's better. And then, I work on my lungs so I can get my breathing better.
Right.
And that's why it's so powerful because it targets specific things for specific individuals.
Do you think some of it has to do with simply positive thinking?
Positive thinking goes a long way.
Yeah.
Positive thinking can take you very far.
Yeah.
It may not, depending on the individual, it may not take you all the way you need to be. And so this can boost that focus for your positive thinking. It can help you to relax. It can help you to understand. It can help you to do whatever you need to do.
Right. Well, that is definitely very interesting. Now, you have a big conference coming up, so we are going to talk about that when we come back. As well, when we come back, Justin is going to tell us and show us exactly what he's been talking about. You're not going to break a board with your hand, though.
I don't have any boards with me today.
Can you break the coffee cup, maybe?
I can do that, but not today.
Not today. Okay, so no breaking anything, but he is going to show you what he's been talking about, perhaps give you some tips, and tell you about a great conference that's coming up if you want to try this for the first time. So go ahead, take a break, relax, smell the roses, come on back and check out the second part of this episode. Welcome back. The elephant in the room is about to get physical. That's right. Justin is going to teach me a Qigong move or two and explain to me what's going on. We're not going to break anything if you got excited. Not a breakable show. But we're also going to talk about a great conference coming up. So, Justin, take it away.
Okay. So, one of the very common and simple moves in Qigong, we'll do something very, very simple today, is... it's called, there's many names for it. We'll call it hugging a tree, let's say.
I'm going to hug a tree.
You're going to hug a tree today.
I'm a tree hugger.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bend our knees. We're going to be about feet shoulder width apart, let's say.
Okay.
We're going to bend our knees. We're going to center our weight. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to slightly tilt the pelvis a little bit forward, about 5 degrees. And the reason we're doing that is to straighten up the spine, because most people, the tail end comes out like this a little bit. So we're going to try to straighten up our posture.
Okay.
So straight posture means alignment of the body, which means energy flows better.
All right.
So that's good. Shoulders are back, relaxed, and the head's up.
All right.
Okay, so we're in alignment. So we want to imagine that there's this string coming from the top of our head and going all the way up and holding our body up in a straight line. Okay. So what we're going to do now, once we've got that, what we're going to do now is we're just going to bring our hands up slow. So we're going to bring our hands up. And we're just going to face the palms to us.
All right.
And the palms are very, very important, because the center of the palm actually is something called the Lao Gong, which is a point where the energy releases from your hand.
Okay.
So this point right here in the center, this point right here, right?
Right there.
Yeah, so if my finger touches down, that's where it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to visually connect to that point in your hand. So if our hands are up like this, we're visually connecting to that point in our hand. And what this does is, in Chinese medicine, the heart is connected to the mind, and this point connects your mind and your heart together. So what we're doing here is we're going to stand very still, slow our breathing down. What happens when we stand very still and slow our breathing down? Well, we start to get a sense, an awareness of what's happening in the body. So awareness is the first step.
Right.
So if we're standing in this position, you may start to feel pain, maybe pain in the shoulder.
Start in my forearms. Yeah.
Forearms?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're feeling like a weakness.
Yeah, it's the, what's it called? The lactic acid.
Right.
Building up, yeah.
Actually, lactic acid, I have a whole segment on lactic acid, but not actually lactic acid, but stagnation of energy is a really big one. So you're going to feel weakness, and you're going to feel tingling, and you're going to feel maybe some numbness and heat. You're going to feel heat develop. Okay, all forms of energy.
Show me how to move here.
This is the first posture. So,
oh my goodness.
And believe it or not, in China, they hold this posture for about 6 hours before you start any training.
Before I start any training.
Before you start any training. So if you drop your hands,
that is not as easy as it looks.
Feel the center of your palm. What temperature is it?
It's warmer than my fingers.
Warmer than your fingers. Why? Because that point is a gate of energy. It's where energy is released from the environment to you, and then the opposite way. So this posture, this posture here, you may even see some Tai Chi. Tai Chi, some of it starts this way, where the hands come up, and then the hands go down this way. So this posture actually is the beginning of everything. It's the very beginning of everything. Okay. And you notice that my arms are relaxed, and they're curved. So the beginning of everything, the way you connect with your body and create the awareness. So that's what I wanted to show you today.
All right, so you told me that a lot of it is not actually external.
No, it's not.
Internal.
It's not.
So tell me.
So that portion where we're up here and we look at the center of the palm and we make the connection with our mind, that's the part of the stillness that I was talking about. So we're creating a stillness, but we're not just closing our eyes and, you know, sitting there and trying to make our mind quiet.
Right.
We have a focus, and our focus point is here. And this is actually also an acupressure point.
Okay.
So believe it or not, you could stick a needle in there if you wanted to. Not
That
the
is
most.
kind of symbolic of religious right there.
It's not the most pleasant experience.
No.
So we use it as we make the mind and body connection.
Right.
So we focus on that point. We are able to move energy to that point, and then in turn we move energy into the body.
Huh.
And I would love to get more into that, but it's quite long. But you can see from that already the hands start to heat up, right?
Yes, I felt it.
And
but there is a place coming up where we can get more into it. So why
There
don't you
is.
tell me about that?
I am with my team hosting a World Congress. This happens all over the world. It's never come to Canada. It's coming to Canada for the first time. And myself and my students have volunteered. We spent 2 years looking for the best professionals in the industry, the best Tai Chi masters, the best Qigong masters, the best scientists and researchers, clinical researchers that do research.
We're not just doing Qigong. We want some science.
We want some science behind it, yeah, because we want to validate that this actually works, right?
Yes.
So from a Western standpoint, we'll prove it to you. We're bringing scientists from universities in California and even a researcher from York University in Toronto who's going to prove and show research that's been done on Qigong, Tai Chi, traditional Chinese medicine, show why it works, show that it does work. They can show you the blood, they can show you the cells, they can show you everything.
So you got a full lab set up there.
We'll have everything. They'll have everything. So
tell me where, when, how.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have an opening ceremony Friday night.
Okay.
Big show, best martial arts, best Shaolin, best Chinese orchestra in Toronto. They're going to do a big show for you. It's about 2 hours. They'll kick off the weekend. And then during Saturday and Sunday, we'll have workshops where you can learn from these masters. Some of them are coming from Japan, China, Thailand, never been here before. So you really have the opportunity to learn from people that you'll never usually get to see.
Wow.
Then we'll have a gala Saturday night to celebrate some achievements in Qigong and traditional Chinese medicine. Sunday, more workshops, and Monday, intensive 6-hour workshops.
6 hours. So that's when we're talking about. Are we just going to do this for 6 hours?
No.
No.
We're going to learn some in-depth movements and stuff.
So okay, you mentioned it was over a weekend. What is the date? The actual
The date is May 25th to 28th.
Okay.
So it's this coming month. I believe that's in 2 weeks.
Very much at the end of the month. And where can we sign up for it?
You can find information on the website. The website is 14wcq.com. So that's number 1, number 4, WCQ. That's 14th World Congress Qigong.
Okay, there. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So you can go there and you can register online and you can find tickets, you can find information, all that stuff.
Now, what if we miss it, or some of my viewers are a little behind on viewing the elephant? So where else can we find information? Maybe if they want to work with you.
If they want to work with me, I have a place in Richmond Hill. You can contact me through my email address. My school email is ngui qigong qigong at gmail.com.
And your website?
My website is modernhealer.ca.
All right, so there you go. Now, Justin, we're almost done, but do you want to leave us with any last thoughts?
If you don't take away anything from today, except for one thing, make sure that you're exercising your mind. Because your mind is a muscle like any other thing in your body, and if it doesn't get stimulated in the right way, it won't be balanced, and it will lead to headaches, and the mind can cause lots of things.
No,
it can even cause cancer.
That is absolutely correct. People sitting around on their couch, at home all day, or staring at a computer, going home, staring at the TV. These people do get sick more often. So you think that continuously keeping your mind stimulated, reading, taking a class,
doing things that make your mind happy are good. Okay, so if you go to work and you're stressed out and you're dealing with your boss and all your work, and then you come home and you just do nothing, it's not healthy for you. So you got to exercise your mind in a way that's positive for you. So if I love to read, I should go home and read.
So do whatever makes you happy.
Do whatever makes you happy.
General outcome of this.
Yeah.
All right. So we were joined by Justin. So if you want to be a Jedi Master, break things with your hands. If you want to heal, if you're looking for a more religious outlet, if you're looking for just a way to quiet your mind and make sure your mind stays happy, there's the conference coming up as well. If you missed it, you can talk to Justin on Filipino's website, Modern Healer. So many options, whatever you use Qigong for. I think the most important part is to make yourself healthy.
Absolutely. That's the first thing. If you're not healthy, you can't do anything.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's very nice to meet you. All you viewers out there, if you're looking to expand your mind, check it out. But for now, settle back. We're all done. I will catch you next time on The Elephant in the Room. I'm Jasmine Bowen, and you have been watching Remix TV.